Good morning. I got a bunch of your questions last night, so it's time to answer them, but not before we get one of my fresh breakfast smoothies. So I'm going to do some long and in-depth answers for the ones that have a similar theme, and then I'm going to do some rapid quick-fire questions at the end. But yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I had a passion fruit and mango smoothie yesterday. It is literally the best thing I've ever had in my life. Been thinking about it all day, all night, so it's time for me to go and get one. Yeah, so that and maybe some mango. Thank you. It costs about like £1 something winning. Oh, thank you.
Spicy ball.
Sorry?
Spicy ball.
Spicy ball?
From
I'm from Poland.
Poland.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Who's that? Oh, thank you. Bye. That guy was literally the cutest guy in the world, bless him. He gave me a little bit of fruit as well. This is like magic. Is there anything better in life than a mango and passion fruit smoothie? I do feel like my nutrition lecturer at university would probably be very unhappy with me right now, but it's fine. I can deal with it. Ooh, and look at the view. Oh, that is so nice. Ooh, tide's in. And there's Mike. Ooh, ooh. Got my breakfast smoothie.
Where's mine?
You could have got one. There you go. You prefer your coffee. Good?
Passion fruit.
Anyway, back to your questions. So, we're going to answer a couple today with Mikey. I guess probably you'll be able to answer them better than I would be able to, I reckon.
Okay.
Because they're one specific to finances and stuff. Do you feel burnout from traveling after making it your work or a job that pays your bills? There are a couple of questions about like burnout and being tired and jet lagged and things like that. So definitely there are times where I'm super burnt out, but when I travel on our schedule, I think we kind of prefer slow travel, right?
Yeah. I think when it's just back to back, 3 days at a time, it just gets too much. Yeah, if we can have like a break for like a week or 2 weeks, then that makes it a lot easier. I mean, actually, somewhere like in a home, or not even a home, just a room, not doing anything.
It's funny, I forget how English you are sometimes when you say stuff like room.
Excuse me.
Because I say room. Anyway, yeah, it's not Aussie. That's room. I swear that's northern. And you're not northern, which doesn't make sense. Anyway, we digress. So why staring at me? Stop staring, it's just awkward. So last year we had a really busy period with work, which was amazing. I was so happy, I was so grateful to have work coming in. It's amazing. I'm so happy. It's what I've been wishing for a long time. But it got to the point where, I'm not even joking, there was a period where I was flying every other day. So I'd fly into a country, go and film something for, the whole day and then leave again. And it was pretty stressful. Like, it was just back to back. And so I was just constantly jet lagged, constantly sleep deprived. And I think when we got to Greece, I had like a little breakdown. It was like a very small one, but we were eating at a restaurant and I think we were photographing it for the client. And I ate too much. And I don't know what it was, but when I ate too much, something in me just snapped.
I was wondering where that was going.
And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this. And so I had this moment of like, I don't know. I was like, I just can't. I just stopped. So Mike had to take all the rest of the pictures, which is fine because he's the food photographer anyway.
I think the moment was when we were in Athens, Greece, after that. And we had like 4 days rest.
Okay, so it was scheduled in 4 days rest.
Back to back. I mean, it's because jobs came in, so we had to squeeze them in. And then another job came into
Munich, Oktoberfest.
Yeah. And
I just knew...
Only you went, so I got my rest, you didn't.
Yeah. So you were fine, and I was knackered. I kind of wanted to send you to Oktoberfest, but I decided in the end to give it a go. I spent like, how long did I have? Like I had like a day and a half. So for that day and a half, I literally just lay in bed. I didn't do anything. But this being said, for the rest of the time, we travel on our own terms. So we're in Thailand for 2 months now, and it's kind of...
Yeah, this is our workation.
Yeah, it's a workation. So like...
Getting our head down working, but not having to worry of other things.
Yeah.
Not having a house and not... Yeah. Enjoying surroundings and...
That is true, actually. In some ways, it's easier to be away from home because when you're at home, you've kind of got like... You've always got chores and things to do, right? Like, I need to repaint that, or that cupboard's broken, or like the boiler broke. Whereas if you're staying like in an apartment or something for a month, you kind of don't have any chores to do. Can get on with work. It can be quite chilling. So yeah, that is the burnout question. Right. let's have a look at another question. Very easy one to answer. How do you and Mike cope with all of the online creeps from a relationship perspective? Honestly, we don't get that many, but I think it's about the type of content that you put out there, right? So I wanted to kind of be perceived as a professional travel blogger. Someone who writes articles, who is a photographer, and there's nothing wrong if you want to have like a sexy Instagram, but that just wasn't really for me. And so I don't feel like we attract that many of those types of comments. Like, I mean, the other day I got a message from some guy who told us to do OnlyFans, and I just felt like saying, but like, I'm just not interested. And whenever
I'd say speak for yourself. I get a lot of people commenting for me, so it's a bit much.
So, breakfast, smoothie, refuel for the next question. Just spilled it everywhere. Oh, it's not my towel, so it's fine. It's Mike's. Oh, sorry. Okay. How do you approach brands or collaborate with them? Okay, this one's quite hard because it's a bit like where's the beginning and end of a circle, or like chicken and the egg. So we do outreach, right, with brands.
Yeah.
And Mikey has very thankfully taken over on a lot of that, because it's quite hard to like divide up all of our time. So I do a lot of the editing and the photography and stuff like that. So Mike takes on more of the like operations, strategy and business side. Thank God. I think you're just naturally a lot stronger at that than I am. Yeah. You're a lot better at emails and things. I feel like we get approached a lot.
Yeah, a lot of our work comes from being approached from someone else.
But I don't know if we're approached because we've previously contacted people. They've kept us in mind for a year or 2 years, or it's 6 months.
So we have an idea. We get an idea of the brands we want to work with. If we want to work with someone, we contact them, and then hopefully that they put us on their sort of email marketing list. And we just move on from there.
Yeah. So like there have been many times where I've emailed brands and they've kind of said, oh, we've got nothing on at the moment, but we'll keep you in mind for the next campaign. And it can feel quite like disheartening, right? Because you think, oh, great, they might be fobbing me off, or they don't want to work with me. And then, 6 months later, they have this like campaign that comes through, and I'm like, okay, wow, like and like this happened so many times last year. Mike was like, oh, don't forget to email those people because you really want to work with them, they're like one of your ideal brands. And I kept messaging, and then towards like the second half of the year we got a great contract with them, so I was so happy. So it's kind of a bit of a chicken and the egg situation. I think it's important to do both, I guess, is the answer.
But a lot of it comes from creating great content, being noticed and found on Instagram and social media, and that's how we get a lot of people find us through our social media.
Yeah, but also through networking. So networking is also quite a big deal. So every year we go to like different travel conferences. I'd like to go to more travel conferences around the world this year, so that's something that we should actually add to our to-do list. But it's also important for like brands to kind of see you as well. So if you go to travel conferences or it doesn't have to be travel. Obviously, I'm talking about travel because that's what we do. But if you go to like fashion and beauty events or whatever it is that you might be blogging about, like when you meet the PR people, it can actually make a difference. So I've been emailing a tourism board for about 6 months, and then I met them at a travel conference, and she was like, oh my God, Adriana, she was like, I'm so sorry, we've just been so busy with emails, blah, blah, blah. And she said, can I offer you a job for next week? And that was amazing. And I think that was one of my first ever jobs, and I was just like, oh my God. So it does kind of pay off. You've kind of just got to put as much as you can out into the world, and hopefully some of it will come back in. Yeah. We've got a lot of questions about how do I start blogging? Is it worth becoming a travel blogger? And there's different types of blogging. You can do website blogging, you can do YouTubing, Instagramming, TikTok, whatever, right? And people are saying, is it worth becoming a blogger? In today's day and age, is it oversaturated? And I think this is a question that a lot of people have, and they're maybe they're a bit worried about starting. And also there's the fear of putting yourself out there. So I saw something recently actually on TikTok, and they say the cost of success is embarrassment. Because when you start putting yourself out there, people do judge you. Do you remember when I first started, like people were like, oh, do you think you're going to be like a travel blogger or something? And I was like, yeah, maybe. And I felt really shy about it. And do you remember we had a chat? You came to me and you said, who cares what these other people say? You were like, who cares? Do you actually care what they think? And I was like, yeah, a little bit. You had a little counselling sesh with me.
Yeah, it was hard. You're putting yourself right in front of the public eye. You feel like you are. I mean, it's a very small percentage of people, but you are putting yourself out there.
So do I think blogging is worth it? 100%. I mean, the amount of experiences that we have from social media is just incredible, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to do this. You know, there aren't many jobs, you know, maybe a travel journalist might do this.
Yeah. We kind of fell into it. Kind of fell into it because we did our year traveling and we still were like, well, let's make this our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it just sort of picked up from that. So I think you need to have a passion for whatever you're doing. And
Completely
it's
agree.
part of your lifestyle as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to face that.
My biggest advice is most people will fail on social media because they will give up after a couple of attempts. And so I'm not even kidding. There were years where I just didn't grow at all and I just kept posting. And it's possible that the reason why I wasn't growing is because my content wasn't that good. But the only reason why my content improved is because I had like 2 years of like playing around with photography and trying different things. And it takes, it can take a while. I'm not saying that it takes forever to like hone your skill. Like, I know some people who've been blogging for a year and get 200k. Like, it's like, you just have to be really analytical. You have to persevere, and that's the biggest thing. And you can't really focus too much on like low or high views, I would say.
Yeah.
There were so many times where I had like low views, like especially right at the beginning, and it literally feels like you're banging your head against a brick wall. But I guess for me, I really liked going out into London, and I love photographing stuff, and I loved going to cute little cafes with my friends on the weekend. So, and another thing is that you don't have to live in an amazing city, or, I know lots of people who blog do amazing photography in the countryside. So you can literally blog about anything. If you enjoy what it is that you're doing, it will work out. So this is probably the last question for now because we're running out of breakfast juice. Okay, so this is maybe a bit of a juicy one, but how much money do you make and what is the breakdown per revenue source? Okay, so there's a bit of a loaded question because there's lots of different elements there, but basically last year we started, thinking about this as a potential career for me because the year 1 of travels was just for us. Year 2, we kind of thought, should we see if we can try and earn some money on this? And year 1, we weren't really interested at all about earning money because we just wanted to explore the world. So we were like, where should we go today? Or should we fly to India or whatever, right? So we didn't have any plan. And we were just happy doing what we were doing, right? And then in year 2, I kind of thought, this could be potentially a good career for me. Maybe we should think about, how brand friendly we are and things like that. And now it's gotten to the point where it makes sense for both of us to be working on this business. So, you can make peace. Yeah. But talking about revenue source, sure.
When we started, the ambition was, can we build our website and also the Instagram? So those two are our main kind of
website, so travel guides and Instagram. And the website it did quite well. We both worked on our website quite a lot in the beginning and it paid off. So by the summer we had reached Mediavine. So Mediavine is when you get ads on your website. So it's like if you watch a YouTube video and you get ads, the creator will get paid for ads on your website. So you have to have 50,000 people to reach Mediavine. We did it and I was so happy. And for every 1,000 page views, you're meant to earn something between $10 and probably around $30. So that works out to be around $1,000 to $2,000 a month. But, and this is a very big but, as soon as my website hit Mediavine, the Google algorithm introduced a new update, and literally overnight, I had 60,000 views on my website every single month, and it dropped pretty drastically. So they basically completely changed their algorithm, and all of my pages, which I'd been writing travel guides for, completely dropped. And so we had hopes that we'd have a really nice, steady income from our website. And I'm currently working on the website at the moment to kind of fix any broken pages and things like that to kind of give it a bit more of a boost. But one of the things to really bear in mind is that with Instagram, YouTube, Google, and like all of these things, you are really subject to the algorithms and the bigger powers at play. A large proportion of our income was from, I would probably even say September to November was crazy busy.
Yeah, most of our revenue comes from brand deals, so working with sort of destinations and tourism boards, airlines,
but also selling our photography and making videos for brands, or writing articles as well, travel guides for some of the Greek islands. So they didn't actually want us to post anything on Instagram. They weren't really interested. They just needed someone to come in, do the photography and write some travel guides. So it's really nice that I guess everything's quite varied.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't finalised the figures and stuff, but I think we're doing well. I mean, it's paying off.
It's paying for us to live, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the last revenue income is through affiliate links. You recommend a hotel and then someone books through that hotel. The booking company, shall we say, will give you a small fee for basically promoting their product. It's something that I'm kind of excited for this year to work on, and that's actually what we're doing in Thailand. Right, I think I'm done for now. One last sip of smoothie before I go and get my second smoothie, right?
Might have sweet.
Maybe we're gonna have a sweet.
So no.
Roasting like a turkey. Right, maybe we'll answer a couple more because we do have a lot, and then we'll leave it for later. So I just had my lunch and I'm going back to 7-Eleven because they didn't heat up my edamame beans properly. But there is a little shake place here, and the chocolate shakes, the chocolate frappes are about 60p, and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. Iced cocoa. Okay, yes, happening. So Adhika, what is the iced cocoa? Is that coconut? Oh, okay. Yeah, can I have that, please? Thank you. Thank you. It's pretty good. We really need stuff like this on holiday. By the way, I'm literally obsessed with 7-Eleven in all of the Asian countries. They are so good. Anyway, so one of the questions that came through asked us what we'd actually do to relax. If traveling and our job is work, then what is my vacation? Which is a great question. Basically, our vacation, honestly, is when I'm at home doing nothing on the sofa. But we also do relax as well when we're traveling on our own time. So right now we're doing a workation in Thailand, and we'll book a home for 2 weeks. And yes, whilst we will be doing some work, a lot of the time I'll just kind of be relaxed. So it was quite funny actually. When I came back from Iceland, that was my last abroad trip of the year, and I was utterly exhausted because I'd been ill as well. So I'd been ill for about, I'm not even joking, 6-7 weeks, probably 7 to 8 weeks. Towards the end of last year, I was just really tired, really wrecked. And when I got home, for the first 10 days, I literally just sat on my sofa every day and just, don't want to say did nothing, but kind of. Sorry, I'm crossing the road, so I need to pay attention. Oh God, thank you. Yeah, so for a week to 10 days, I literally sat on the sofa and I barely did anything. Like, I could barely be bothered to get up and cook food. I was being super, super lazy. I think towards the very end, Mike kind of had to have a little chat with me. We're all good now. But it was, come on, you can get a sofa. I was very tired. And now I get to eat my edamame beans. Amazing. So the first question we have is, what can you make per annum as a travel blogger with 100k followers? That's kind of a hard one actually. I mean, it's a bit like, how long is a piece of string? It can be nothing and it can be 6 figures. And it really depends on how good you are at networking. And this is something that I kind of didn't really do that well when I first started travel blogging. So when I had 100k followers, I'd only just begun to start earning, but I was also working a full-time job. The thing you need to know is that you've really got to start networking with tourism boards. The same theory applies, basically. For any niche or topic that you're in, you have to network, you have to kind of get to know who all of the people are, and you also need to be quite brand friendly. So I know that people can make a full-time salary from just around 50k a year. So if you look up maybe what the average salary in London is, you could very easily make that or more with 50k followers. But you just need to know what you're doing. You need to make sure that you are networking and that you're brand friendly. So what I mean by brand friendly is our brand's going to want to advertise with you. I suppose the reason why I'm talking about branding is because that's where the majority of my income is from. So for example, if you have very aggressive opinions on something, it might deter from some brands from wanting to work from you because you're quite polarizing. They might not want to be associated with that. But then you might attract the right type of brands that will want to work with you. I also know people that quit their full-time jobs when they had just 14,000 followers. So if you think about it, 14,000 people is actually a huge amount of people. If you are recommending products and you're selling things to 14,000 people and you have a really engaged audience, you can make a great income off of that. So it really depends on what kind of blogging you do and what kind of avenue you go down. There is no real way to kind of explain or just guesstimate how much people earn with 100k followers on social media. So the answer can genuinely be none, and the answer can genuinely be hundreds of thousands of pounds. So that is my answer for you. Okay, so my next question is, how do you overcome sometimes not getting the best views? It's a great question. To be honest, I genuinely don't really care. I just don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's more to life than, sometimes not getting high views on your social media posts, whatever. What I would admit is that if you were consistently getting low views, then obviously it can be quite hard. But I posted every single day for 3 years and got pretty poor engagement. But I did it because I enjoyed it. So I really recommend, if you are interested in blogging, making sure that it's something that you're interested in. If you are worried about low views, I would probably recommend that you look at trends, at audios, at, the first 3 seconds of your videos, your hook, the title, the SEO of your captions. So that's search engine optimization. So if you're writing about things to do in Reykjavik, make sure you write down things to do in Reykjavik in the description. So if people are ever searching for that, it shows and appears on the search engine of whatever platform you're using. But yeah, try not to get too hung up on it. Everybody gets low views from time to time, and it takes a while to build up an audience. Just make sure that you're doing something that you're really passionate about, and you'll be fine. So the next question that I have is, do you ever feel nervous about traveling, e.g. on a plane or arriving at a new country? Yes, definitely. So I've mentioned it many times before, but I am actually scared of flying. I have worked on myself a lot to make sure that I am really calm when I get on a plane. But ages ago, I was on a plane that had an emergency landing, and I think we were chased down the runway with a fire engine, which honestly made me brick myself. Hold on, I just need to show you this palm tree. This is so cool. Oh, look at that. How cool is that palm tree? That is super weird. Okay, anyway, back to storytelling. And obviously everything was fine. Planes are super, super safe. It's pretty much the safest way to travel. But unfortunately, I do feel a bit nervous sometimes when I go on. Sometimes I'm fine. I also found it quite, I don't want to say scary, but before I left to go traveling full time, I was really scared. I shared that on social media. I was literally bawling my eyes out before I left. Yeah, it is. It's really nerve-wracking. But now that I've been to all of these countries, I kind of realized there wasn't really that much to be scared of. I think it was just the fear of the unknown and worrying how people might treat us in certain countries, if we'd be safe. But actually, as long as you do your research before you go to a lot of these countries, you will be absolutely fine. And this is one thing that I've really noticed, is that fear is kind of a lot of the time in your head. Yes, it's there to protect us, but don't let it control you completely and let it take over. Okay, so this is my last question for the day, but I thought I'd give it a go. So someone has asked, do you ever forget the concept of time/days with much travel, jet lag, time zone changes? Yes, absolutely. So I've only just arrived in Thailand and I am quite jet lagged. And generally, I am a great sleeper. I can fall asleep instantly at home, or when I'm in a settled routine, I can sleep for 8 to 10 hours. It's amazing. However, when I'm jet lagged, at the moment I'm getting 3 hours of sleep, and it's so annoying. And that is one of my favorite things about being a digital nomad and running my own business, because I'm totally in charge. And maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I feel like, if you are able to remote work, it is incredible to kind of move around and go to different islands or go to different places and experience different cultures. If you ever are in a situation where you can remote work, regardless of whether you have a family or not, or a partner or not, you should take the opportunity to go and see new places if that is something that interests you. But that is all for today. And this is my beautiful walk home, and we'll be back tomorrow with the rapid fire questions. Okay, Now it's time to do some of the rapid fire questions because I'm just trying to get through as many as I can so you all feel you've had the majority of your questions answered. Right, so I've had a lot of questions around, is blogging still worth it in this day and age? I know it's very competitive, and yes, it absolutely is. I've known people that have grown really, really quickly from blogging in the last year, so you can absolutely do it. How does the whole contractual side of it look like? What needs to be in a contract? So I have actually written a whole blog post, which I haven't published yet, but it basically has everything that you need to look for in a contract, because there are a lot of things that people try and sort of sneak in there. What is my most embarrassing toilet story, and what country has the worst bathroom situation? Oh, you're actually going to see that on my Instagram very soon. I've had a lot of questions about people asking if they can join me on my travels. That's really sweet, thank you. I think it's just super hard at the moment. We've just been so busy, so I haven't been able to do any group trips. I'll think about it maybe in future. I'm like... Mike's off to get food. Somebody else has asked about a meetup in London. I could do a meetup in London, but I'm not going to be there for the next couple of months, so maybe something for me to think about in the future. How do you manage your luggage from when it goes from warm to cold? We've done something called Chasing Summer, and basically it means that we travel to countries that are specifically warm because that can only fit warm things in my suitcase. If you think about really like cold, wintry stuff, you have like coats and thick jumpers and waterproofs. It takes up a lot of space. So if I do ever go to somewhere cold, I have to go home first and swap my luggage in and out. What is more important, stories or reels? I think they're both equally as important. So stories are a really good way to engage with the people that already follow you, and reels is really good to reach new audiences as well as your own. So they're both important in my opinion. What passports do you hold? I have a Polish passport and an Australian passport, the best combination ever in my opinion, but I am biased. Have I ever travelled by van? Yes, I travelled through Japan in a van, and that was amazing. Isn't it kind of annoying to film and take photos on sites and activities that you just want to enjoy? Not really. Let's put it this way. If you flew to Rio de Janeiro and you saw, Christ the Redeemer statue, you would be taking photos of it, and you'd probably take selfies with it too. I do exactly the same. I just try and make sure that, we get a good shot. Oh, this is the hard one. Is blogging over as a result of the Google algorithm updates and its prioritization of AI? This is something I can't answer because I don't know what the answer to that is. I know a lot of bloggers say it's not the end. People still use websites to read up about a destination. So yeah, I don't think it's dead. But will it become harder? I think it may be. Is it all collabs paid for by hotels? Absolutely not. Doing collab jobs with hotels is honestly super, super time consuming. I haven't done a collab for months and months, maybe 6 months. I prefer not to. Do I use a template to pitch to brands or make up my own? I definitely have my own, and I think it's pretty good because it has a good success rate. Do I batch my content? No, it feels like too much effort. Any advice on writing captions? I hate captions. I had a meeting recently with Meta and they said 80 to 90% of people don't actually read captions, so you could just make a super short caption and not really worry about it that much. There you go. Thank you so much for all of your questions. But yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm also super excited to be trying something different on my Instagram this year, and you'll be seeing that in the coming weeks. So I'm really excited, and let's get started.